Imagine a place where decadence reigned, where the night hid dark secrets and the sky seemed indifferent to the acts of men. Sodom and Gomorrah, two cities mentioned in the Bible, became synonymous with divine destruction and corrupt morality. But what really happened? Did these cities really exist, or were they just warning metaphors? Between the sands of time and ancient accounts, there is a disturbing truth that defies logic and faith. The story begins in the book of Genesis, where Lot, Abraham's nephew, decides to live in Sodom, attracted by the city's apparent prosperity. However, this decision places him at the center of a conflict that would culminate in one of the most intriguing episodes in the scriptures. The Bible describes Sodom and Gomorrah as places where sin was rife, and the cry for justice reached God. But what kind of sin would be so serious as to justify such destruction? Were these cities victims of exaggerated interpretations or of something beyond human comprehension? The biblical text takes on a mysterious tone when two angels appear in Sodom to warn Lot of the impending destruction. Before this, however, the entire city is taken over by a mob that seeks to invade Lot's house to commit terrible acts against the visitors. This scene, full of tension, leaves a question in the air: what was the real nature of the inhabitants of Sodom? This is where the enigma begins to deepen, as the text seems to contain layers of symbolism and historical facts intertwined. But what about the story behind the story? Archaeological excavations along the Jordan Valley, the region where the city supposedly existed, have revealed remains of ancient civilizations that were abruptly destroyed. One site in particular, known as Tal el-Hammam, has caught the attention of researchers. The remains indicate that the area was hit by a catastrophic explosion. Could this be related to the biblical narrative? With each new discovery, the mystery only deepens. One intriguing theory suggests that the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah may have been caused by a devastating natural event, such as a meteor impact or a Tunguska-like explosion in Siberia. Scientists have found evidence of extreme heat at the site, enough to melt rocks and turn the soil to glass. This hypothesis adds an even more frightening tone to the story. Could divine wrath be a metaphor for an uncontrollable cosmic disaster? Returning to the biblical account, the suspense builds as Lot and his family flee, having been told not to look back. What happens next has become one of the most iconic images in the story. Lot's wife, disobeying orders, looks at the destruction and is transformed into a pillar of salt. Is this a metaphor for clinging to the past, or something more literal? Interestingly, the Dead Sea region, near the site, contains rock formations that resemble human figures. Coincidence or a sign of something bigger? While the Bible paints Sodom and Gomorrah as examples of divine justice, other cultures and traditions have their own versions of cities destroyed by their decay. In ancient Mesopotamian texts, stories such as the Epic of Gilgamesh also mention great calamities as punishments from the gods. This suggests that the theme of divine destruction may be a common archetype, but what makes Sodom and Gomorrah so unique is the mix of historical evidence and spiritual interpretations. The silence that surrounds the ruins, if they exist at all, seems to echo a message that transcends time, the fine line between progress and decay. The archaeologist who walks through the deserts of the region finds not only fragments of pottery, but also unanswered questions. Did the cities truly defy divine values, or were they victims of natural forces that escaped human understanding? The suspense of this story lies in its timelessness. Modern science tries to decipher the enigma with rigor, but the Bible operates on another level, the symbolic. Sodom and Gomorrah may not be just places but states of mind, warnings against the corruption of soul and society. Yet the evidence of rapid destruction in the area suggests that something real happened, leaving a trail that challenges believers and skeptics alike. What if the real lesson of Sodom and Gomorrah lies not in the destruction but in the warning? Abraham's negotiation with God to spare the cities if there were at least 10 righteous people illustrates a quest for justice amid chaos. This moment reveals a universal tension. How far does mercy go in the face of evil? It is a question that resonates not only in faith but also in modern human relationships. As the sun sets over the ruins of the Jordan Valley, an eerie silence hangs in the air. The lack of definitive answers keeps Sodom and Gomorrah on the threshold between myth and history. The echoes of their destruction resonate as a reminder that greater forces, whether natural or divine, can intervene in unpredictable ways. And yet, what is most disturbing is what was left unsaid, what was lost in the wind and the sands. In the end, Sodom and Gomorrah remain an enigma. No matter how many scientific theories or theological interpretations are put forward, the mystery of these cities continues to challenge us. They force us to look at ourselves, at the choices we make and the consequences they can bring. And so, the story, shrouded in suspense and unanswered questions, remains alive, echoing through the corridors of time.